I'm getting a lot of emails, tons actually, from new Hebrews. And they want to know, Malaya, I'm new, I'm in the truth now, I'm just woken up. Where do I go from here? Well, actually, that's a question that you have to answer for yourself. But what I will do, as someone that has been a part of one of the largest African American Hebrew Israelite movements to ever leave America, and who now resides in Israel, from that perspective, I'll try to at least give you my opinion and say where you can start, okay? Um, the first thing I did to try to help you was to go to the dictionary. Now, this is the actual definition according to the dictionary of what a Hebrew is. You always want to do your research, okay? Now, a Hebrew is defined as a member of an ancient people living in what is now called Israel and Palestine, and according to biblical tradition, descended from the patriarch Jacob, grandson of Abraham. After the Exodus in 1300 BC, they established the kingdom of Israel and Judah, and their scriptures and traditions formed the basis of the Jewish religion. Okay? So first came the Hebrews, then came the Jews. It's very interesting. Okay, now, my first question to you would be, after this definition, who told you that you were a Hebrew? Is this something that you just dreamt one night? You woke up from a dream and said you were a Hebrew? Or when you say you woke up, did you wake up by reading the scriptures? And did the scriptures reveal something to you that caused you to believe that I'm a Hebrew? Or did someone else tell you that you were a Hebrew? These are very important questions, because if you want to define yourself in a particular way, you need to really look closely at how you came to that conclusion. Okay? Did it come to you because basically this is something that your family passed down to you? You were born into a family of Hebrew Israelites, and it was passed down to you, and you just lived that way all your life? You know, well, if that's the case, then you're not necessarily a new Hebrew, but even some of our youth that reside here in Israel, they don't really know what a Hebrew is and really understand it. And many of them have went to live lives just like an Israeli or a Jew. So this is a very interesting topic, and hopefully some of the things that I'm going to share with you today will help answer your question, where do I go from here? Okay, so we went to the dictionary, and you're asking yourself, where did this notion, the idea that I'm a Hebrew, come from? Now, after you have established that, then you want to look at, okay, so I've identified with these people because the actual Hebrews, or just like the actual Phoenicians or the actual Romans that lived one time on the planet, but they don't exist anymore. Their descendants exist. So DNA would play a very important part in establishing why you feel you're Hebrew, or is this something that is a genetic type of memory that was passed down to you. So all of these are very, very interesting things that we will ultimately have to look at, because if we're just defining ourselves as the people of the promised land by culture, then maybe that's not enough. I was a part of a group called the African American Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem. And that in itself, that title in itself is very, very controversial, because there are a lot of Hebrews all over the world that identify themselves as Hebrews. And a lot of them, or most of them, feel as though they have the correct definition or attitude or lifestyle to define what it is to be a Hebrew. Okay, me being a part of that community for so long, 35 years, I would have to say to you that defining yourself as a Hebrew is very, very individual. Some people, they look towards the clothing. You're not a Hebrew unless you're wearing the culture or the clothing. Okay? Like I have a turban on today. I still love to wear my turban. I don't wear it often, but I think it's a beautiful, and it's one of the things that really attracted me to the Hebrew culture. But would and could I say that I'm Hebrew just based on what I'm wearing? I would have to say no, because there's someone else that might wear a beautifully wrapped turban, or African-esque type clothing, or Hebrew type clothing with the fringes and the cords of blue and all of the things that we consider Hebrew culture. They may have on the culture, but is that the only thing? Okay, some people may even look at the language. Okay, we have over 1 million people here in Israel that speak Hebrew. Now, most of them are speaking modern day Hebrew, and they don't have an inkling of the ancient Hebrew. Would you look at them as being Hebrews? Okay, now let's look at the land. Do you consider yourself a Hebrew if you living in Israel? There are all kinds of people that came from other lands and are living here. Does that make you a Hebrew? What makes you a Hebrew? When you ask yourself that question, you have to ask yourself, what is it that I'm really saying when I call myself a Hebrew? Is it, because we can look at ancient artifacts, and we can look at pictures, and we can read the Bible, and we can get an idea of how they wore their hair and the things that they ate and this and that. But over time, things evolved. You have Hebrews now that believe in Yeshua ben Yosef or Jesus Christ. You have Hebrews now that don't. So it's very, very personal and very individual when you look at the idea of what a Hebrew actually is. And there are very many different Hebrew camps, hundreds and hundreds all over the world. And each of them has their own unique identity. Okay, so this is something that you have to decide for yourself, and you can't really let anyone decide that for you. Okay, what is it that drew you to it? Was it the doctrine? Even with that, there's so many different groups that believe different things. You have some groups that believe that, a woman is not as strong as a man, or the Bible teaches that a woman should stay in her place, and then you have other Hebrews that don't feel that way. You have some Hebrews that I could go on and on and on. Okay, so that's very important. Now the idea of, are we waking up? What time is it on our planet? Is it time for everyone to be waking up? Is it time for us all to come back to Israel as Hebrew Israelites? That's a huge, huge question. And everybody has their own personal beliefs about that. And some are, they will stand very rigid and very strong and toe-to-toe to defend their particular belief. Now, is everybody right? Can everybody be right? Can everybody be wrong? That's something that you have to ask yourself. Okay, now, it is a fact that things are passed on and passed on and passed on through tradition, family traditions. And it is a known fact that in Africa, where some black Hebrews in America don't feel like an African can be a Hebrew, it is a fact, if you do the research, that there are, in fact, many Hebrews that are living outside of America and Africa, and they migrated because Hebrews, like a lot of other people, were under certain kinds of persecution and over time, people migrate. We know that people migrated because anybody that does any kind of research knows that people migrated all over the planet. This is why you see pyramids everywhere. You see giant stone heads, the Olmecs, everywhere. So the idea that they only are from America because they came over on a ship or this or that is pretty far-fetched. And I'll probably get some emails from people that don't agree with that, but it's okay. If we, as Hebrews, cannot come to a point where we can sit down and we can talk with each other and reason with each other, then we won't get very far. Now they have the State of Israel. The State of Israel was formed by Jewish people that got together and they raised enough money to do what it was that they wanted to do. And they got the political backing to do that. And once upon a time, and I'm trying to connect this to the idea of, is this a new idea? Once upon a time, the Black Hebrews in America, their whole heritage, the whole culture and all of that was lost. We lost a lot of our heritage and cultures because we were enslaved and we were being wiped out, and for many reasons. So secretly, many of us, we kept a part of that and we passed that on to our children and our grandchildren so it wouldn't just be totally lost. Now in the late 1800s, there began to emerge Hebrew Israelite groups in the late 1800s, and some of them were very strong and powerful. Now, you had one group that was actually, they had 37,000 members, and I don't remember the name of the group right offhand. Maybe I'll put that down in the footnotes or in the description box below or whatever. So that's a very powerful organization. So at least back in the late 1800s, Black people understood that if they wanted to do something, or if they believed in something and they wanted to get something accomplished, they understood the necessity of working together, to meet those goals. And so with the congregation of 37,000, they were able to buy land, they were able to buy property. Now when you look around today, and you see many of the Black Hebrew Israelite organizations, many of them are not doing that because, frankly, they're just too busy fighting each other. There comes a point in time when even if you don't agree on everything, you can agree on the most important things, and the most important things will bring you to a point where you can organize, you can put your money together, and you can buy boats, airplanes, land, businesses, whatever it is you want to do. So, in my opinion, the Black Hebrew Israelites haven't done this yet. So is everyone waking up? No, it's not so much that they're waking up. They're Black or Hebrew Israelites all over the world. Some not even Black, really. All over the world, and they have always been there. And it is more of Hebrew Israelites today that are claiming that heritage, but they've always been there. Okay, so it's just more now than it was before. Okay, now, in my opinion, it is very important for you, and those of you that are just coming into the so-called truth, to ask yourself, it's more important to ask yourself, not who I am, but what I am. And why do I say it like that? I say it because you have to ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? Someone can come and tell you you're a Hebrew, and you're a Hebrew just based on the fact that you're a Puerto Rican or you're Black or this or what. Is that enough? You have to ask yourself, okay, whether you're calling yourself a Jew or you're calling yourself a Christian or whatever it is you're calling yourself, You have to ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? Because you're putting yourself in a box by labeling yourself. What kind of person do I want to be? You know, most of the major religions have the same basic tenets, you know. Do you want to be the kind of person that is out there putting everybody else down because they don't believe what you believe? Do you believe that you're right and only you're right? What kind of person do you want to be? Do you want to be the kind of person that's a good father, or the kind of person that is showing your son that your mother is less than a man and she should walk behind him, or she's not as good on any level, intellectually, spiritually, or what she can't handle a Bible? You know, these are, what kind of person do you want to be in life? You know, that is something that you need to ask yourself first, and that's paramount before you can really say or label yourself and say who I am. Ask, what am I? What am I? You know, because it's almost like when you get a car, and when you get a car, you get a driver's manual. And in that driver's manual, it tells you how to live and how to, you know, and how to maintain your vehicle. Because if you put the wrong kind of gas in there, you're going to have a problem, you know. And if you, but life is the same way, you know. We have all that we need when we come here. And when you read the manual, and you can say the Bible or the Torah, and somewhere in there are basic tenets that tell you how to live your life. You know that it's wrong to go out and rape a person. You know it's wrong to steal and to lie. You know that, you know. So we are going to have to begin to find more things that we have in common than we have differences about. You know, we're going to have to start to use our common sense. Because in my opinion, God is just common sense. And when you use common sense, you know, you will be able to do whatever it is you want to do in life. You know, if you really believe that you're a Hebrew, you know, and have you researched? You know, do you research, or do you just mimic or repeat what other people are telling you? You know, I live here in Israel, and me being here, I have seen all kinds of things take place among the Jews and the Hebrews. You know, despicable acts done to men, women, and children amongst the Jews and the Hebrews. It is not a matter of color. It is not a matter of geographical location. It is a matter of the heart. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If you want to embrace being a Hebrew Israelite, don't just, in my opinion, it's not enough to just find a group. It's not enough to just speak Hebrew, because you're going to find problems everywhere. It's inside of you. You're going to find that idea that Yeshua ben Yosef, Jesus Christ, or whatever you ascribe to, God, you know, whatever you ascribe to, if you really are seeking peace, if you really are seeking to be an example, no matter what label you give yourself, you're going to find it here within you. Okay? The answers all lie within. And I hope that has helped you to answer some of your questions. You know, be mindful of joining groups. Look at the way that they treat the women and the children. Do you have a say-so, or do you not have a say-so? Is there one person that is the leader and no one can ask him a question? You know, what is the goal? You know, is it legal and above board? You have to research and ask yourself many of these questions, so you could find yourself giving up everything and you don't receive anything. You know, take it from someone that knows. I wrote the book about it. And are all Hebrew groups like that? Absolutely not. But it's incumbent upon you to do your homework. You have to do the work. You ask yourself, now, where is this idea coming from? Oh, it's a beautiful thing to be a Hebrew Israelite. But what kind of person do I want to be first? I can wear the most beautiful clothes in the world, and they can all be pure, and I cannot eat pork, and I can go to Shabbat Seder and do all of that. But if I have evil intents in my heart, it's all for naught. It's all for naught. So I hope that that's helped you, and I think that it's a good thing for you to to study with groups are good for studying and getting together and doing things that is hard to do alone. But always keep your own mind. Don't let anybody just say something to you and you just accept it, just like it's set in stone. We as a people need to do a lot of research, because we need to uncover our past. We need to uncover the things that were lost, as a people. Europeans can say where they came from, but we can't. Many of us, we can't go all the way back to Africa. And many of us never lived, and our ancestors were never from Africa. There are a lot of Hebrew Israelites that they never left America, because a lot of Hebrew Israelites lived on the shores of America before the Europeans even so-called discovered America. But that's another story. I just wanted to give you some things to consider. Okay? So again, I love you with a perfect love, and I hope you have a beautiful day, and I hope that these words have helped you in some way. Do your homework. Don't rely on other people to do all of that for you. Whether you come into Israel or whether you're not, it really doesn't make a difference. You might want to come just to make a pilgrimage, because all of that is important too. But in the meantime, love yourself and love your brothers and your sisters. Have a great day. Peace out.